Welcome to our new program, 401k Real Chat. This is Fred Barstein, contributing editor for wealthmanagement.com's RPA Edge and CEO at TROW, TPSU, and 401k TV. I invite the most interesting, innovative, and impactful retirement and wealth management professionals that I know, asking them to provide open, honest, and candid answers to three important and at times difficult questions. So let's get real. This week, we host Charles Millard, former director and CEO of the PBGC and currently Senior Advisor to Annexus Retirement Solutions. Welcome, Charles.
Thank you, Fred. Very glad to be here.
So today we're going to focus a lot on retirement income, especially retirement income within defined contribution plans. So Charles, we know that the demand is high for people in DC plans. Why is that? And have you been able to quantify that demand?
Well, it's a great question, Fred, and it's really an important point. You know, with the demise of the defined benefit plan, people have come to understand the value of lifetime income. And with the coming retirements and current retirements of baby boomers, people have realized that the 401k plan is a tremendous tool for the accumulation of assets. It hasn't yet been developed into a tool for the decumulation of assets, and that's become a real challenge. So the Nexus has done some polling, and it's really interesting. If you ask people, do you want lifetime income? About 90% say yes. And then when you say, what are you willing to give up to get lifetime income? They essentially say nothing. So as we get to your next question about impediments, we'll talk about some of the challenges to people actually adopting lifetime income. And I'll add one other point, which is plan sponsors have long wanted to get a safe harbor so that they might choose annuity providers. And under the Secure Act, which passed about 3 years ago by Congress, now there is a safe harbor for the selection of annuity providers, and that's given impetus in the marketplace to the adoption of more lifetime income solutions.
So what are these impediments to retirement income inside of a DC plan, either for the system or the individuals?
Well, for the plan sponsor, impediments include, will their record keeper adopt it? Impediments include, they need a prudent process for the selection of the insurer. And there's also the question of, are they getting demand from their participants? So when you poll participants and ask, would you like lifetime income? As I said, the answer is yes, but the participants aren't calling up the head of benefits and saying, come on, how come we don't have lifetime income? And then more concretely, the impediments include the feeling or the view or the expectation that if I am in an annuity, I'm giving up liquidity. If I am in a lifetime income solution of some kind, I'm giving up access to my assets. I'm giving up the chance to have my assets grow. As you know, a deferred income annuity can be a very good deal. It kicks in when you're 75 or 80, and it can pay pretty well. But once you've made that deal, if you die, you don't get the payoff. And if the market performs terrifically, you don't get any of that upside. That doesn't mean it's a bad deal, but it's the kind of thing that makes people say, gee, I wanted lifetime income, but I'm not willing to give up control. I'm not willing to give up the chance to have my assets grow. I'm not willing to take a lower income. Some solutions are very sound and safe, but their guarantee is relatively low. And people say, look, if you're going to give me a 3.5% payout, that's just not enough for me to give up control and portability and liquidity.
And just a follow-up to that question is, in the accumulation phase, we found that education didn't really work. And now the only thing that seemed to work was the auto plan. We didn't need engagement. We just did things for them automatically, and they had to, opt out or make different decisions. Does retirement income require engagement? Do we need them to be engaged, or can we do automatically for them like we did in the accumulation phase?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it depends on the solution. I can't imagine a CIO or a head of benefits doing a default into something that people can't get out of. And that would include, even if it's something that they can't get out of, only when they're in pay status, right? I can't imagine defaulting people into, for example, a QDIA or something where they're going to have to choose something that is entirely illiquid at some point. However, if you can default people into a target date fund, as you can today, one of the reasons you can default people into a target date fund is that it's always liquid. They can get out of their default, they can go into a different target date fund, but the target date fund itself is also a completely liquid tool. So
Right.
Annexus's tool is completely liquid as well, even when you're in pay status. I think that's one of the tremendous strengths of the Annexus solution.
But even if they can get out of it, don't people have different needs in retirement? I mean, in the accumulation versus, when you're accumulating assets, you're just trying to get as much as you possibly can on how much you can afford. But do we need engagement? Do we need to understand what their needs are? And that may differ for different solutions?
I think you need something, and by the way, the Annexus solution does this, which has the standardization and the power of pooling during the accumulation process, but allows personalization during the deaccumulation process. So while it can pay 6%, if you want to only take half, you can only take half. If you want to take zero, you can take zero. If you want to liquidate the whole thing, you can liquidate the whole thing. If you want to liquidate half of it, you can liquidate half of it. So the power of being in a pooled environment in the accumulation phase is important, but so is the personalization aspect at the time when you actually do know the answers to the questions of how much do I need and how much should I continue to save.
So tell us, how did you get involved with Annexus Retirement Solutions? And I know that Annexus was sold, but not the retirement solutions a part of that.
So Annexus, the core company, received an investment from Blackstone about 3 years ago. And someone from Blackstone actually approached me and said, these guys have, lightning in a bottle. They know the record-keeping world, they know the insurance world, but they don't necessarily know the plan sponsor world as well as the former head of PBGC might. And so I've been engaged to help them promote on a policy level, similar to the conversation we're having right now, as well as on a plan sponsor level to develop these dialogues. And what's really interesting is people want an answer to the question. People's heads are spinning with comparing a DIA and a SPIA and a FIA. But when you get into issues like longevity, liquidity. Liquidity, is it designed to maximize the returns on my assets? Can I always get out of it? What's the real guaranteed pay? Plan sponsors really are very anxious to have solutions that give them the comforting answers to those kinds of questions.
So the final question for you is how is the Annexus solution different than maybe what's out there and available in the market?
Well, hard to explain all in just a few moments, but in particular, it is QDIA eligible. It can be a default, not only because it meets the provisions of the Secure Act, but also because people can always get out of it. So that even if you think it's a good idea, plan sponsors think, well, I don't want to default somebody into something that I don't want them to stick them in there. Well, that's not the case here. Here, you start the conversation at a solution that provides 6% of the high watermark of the entire target date fund. But if you want to customize it or you want to get out of it or liquidate the entire amount, you can do that even when you're in pay status. So that's a huge difference. There are some other complexities that explain why it's designed to maximize growth. So not every solution is designed to maximize growth. Sometimes it's designed to maximize the security of the guarantee. But in the growth phase, as you said earlier, you want to get as much as you can. And the Annexus solution is designed in a number of subtleties to maximize the growth of your assets so that you have a higher benefit base from which to pay the guaranteed income.
Right. Well, thanks for your time today, Charles, and joining us on 401k Real Chat. And
thank you.
Thank you for watching and listening. Stay tuned and let me know if there are other guests that you would like me to invite on 401k Real Chat, which is part of wealthmanagement.com's RPA